Detectives are beginning to pivot from a missing persons investigation to a criminal probe. According to Samantha's mother, her daughter came to Riverside Park late last Friday night to meet up with an old boyfriend. She says the two got involved in a physical altercation, and tonight, 1 week later, she tells me she has plenty of reason to be concerned.
Something bad may have happened to her. She does not have a phone with her. She's obsessed with her phone. Like, she wants to, like, that is her main thing, as with like a lot of teenagers now. Like, she cannot be away from her phone, and she would let somebody know. Like, I don't know where she would have gone with no money, no means of getting any money. There were no altercations here. She's been happy.
Indeed, indeed. Focus News 1 on the Focus TV 1 network with Kimberly. It's when you're supposed to come in. And Teflon Taylor. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Teflon. I am Kimberly Trapani of The Purpose Show.
And I'm Teflon Taylor, the man behind the scenes, coming to you with the topics that matter. You can count on the Focus News 1. You know, when you want to get informed, when you're looking for that news, let's tell them what we're here to talk about today.
Yes, we were going to do an emergency show at 1 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast to cover missing Samantha Humphrey, and a very sad case. And I've been talking behind the scenes to the mother of Samantha, and I've been talking behind the scenes to the police department, and the police department feels that that the investigation is getting compromised by the media interfering with their investigation. And I can tell you that the media is not interfering with the investigation. We are only enhancing the communication that is so lacking in New York State right now. It is so incompetent in nature, and the media is not the problem. The problem is we have a missing child, and the child is not found. And as I've been talking to the police department, we have Schenectady Police Department on the scene. They have advised me that they are not getting credible facts of the case right now. So they have advised me that if there is credible facts, and only credible facts, to call the tip line. And the tip line number is 518-630-0911.
I mean, but if they're not trying to get the public involved, I mean, how the public gonna call that tip line? And let's rewind it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Issues within New York with the crime. I thought they had a pretty good crime fighting system there. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is since we have had a new governor, there was a shooting in Buffalo, and they took out a lot of people at a grocery store. What's going on is that I have been in direct contact with legislators behind the scenes and the police department in conversations, and the communication is breaking down. it's very incompetent in nature. The people are stepping on other people's toes. There's a lot of power trips in New York State right now. Everybody has to be right. That's what's going on. So we had a shooting in a Tops grocery store, and then it seems to be a downward political spiral in New York State right now. I haven't seen competence probably in about a couple years since the governor stepped down, the former one.
Who was the former governor, and who is the current governor at the moment?
Okay, so the former governor was Governor Andrew Cuomo, and I can give you a rewind on that. Governor Cuomo and the New York State legislators and I were working together on confronting the overdose crisis in New York State. The new governor is Governor Kathy Hochul, and she kind of inherited the throne, never got elected into governmentship until this previous election.
Okay, okay. And who is exactly is the police chief down there in New York City, of New York City?
In the place where Samantha went missing, the police chief name is Eric Clifford.
Eric Cliff. Okay, yeah. And what was the name of that town again?
Schenectady.
And let's talk about the town. Give us a little bit of information about the town. Give us a little background about the town.
I can tell you because I've taught in some of the school districts in Schenectady, and I know what the children are really doing. I've seen a lot in being able to have the teaching role in Schenectady, New York. And it's very diverse. Some spots of Schenectady have high end because there's doctors and lawyers there, and other ends are underprivileged and inner city. So it's a mix. It's a diverse mix, but it seems to be over time the crime rates have increased. I've seen a lot of the children, because I've talked to the kids myself in being in a teacher role in the past. Some of the parents are very caring and hands-on in the schools, where there's other parents that are not there. They're just don't care about their kid. They leave their kid to walk to school, and they're just not very hands-on parents.
Indeed.
So it's a big mix of the caring parents versus the non-caring parents, and then the kids are mixed together and in something called integration in the schools, and they have to keep everything on the same level and give everyone the same services. But when I taught there 2 years ago, before COVID, or 3, the children's education was a 43% success pass rate in the schools.
Indeed, indeed. Well, let's rewind a little bit back about
Sure.
I caught where you mentioned walking to school. It's kind of a trending thing these days. I know back when I was growing up, we used to walk to school, but never really by ourselves. I see a lot of young kids walking to school by themselves. I know the parents have to go to work and everything else, but it has to be a different way, because it's not safe. It used to be, it was a lot safer 20 something 20 30 years ago. Not gonna tell my age. It's a lot safer a while back, but it's not safe these days. And to have your kids to walk to school, I mean, it's not really even safe as school right across the street, because we have some interesting people out there doing some not interesting things. So let's go back to the missing 14-year-old. I do believe that it's actually two. I'm not for sure of the other age of the other girl that's missing, but it's actually two. So the
Yes.
one became missing, and then the Samantha became missing. It's like a trending thing.
Yes.
And I believe the law enforcement was saying that they don't think the other the teen is in trouble. They kind of been talking to her. So I mean, is Samantha really missing, or is this a game that she's playing? Is she a runaway?
Well, the thing is that the children, sometimes with that age, what's going on is they're avoiding school. Some of them are getting peer pressure at that age from other kids. With Samantha, the thing is they tie these phones to the kids now. When I went to school, we had pay phones. We didn't have mobile phones. We weren't in classrooms listening to music during core time. So with Samantha, the facts are this, and I want to try to stick to the facts. As I told the police department, we don't want speculation. That was the purpose of having Samantha's mother on, to clarify some of these things. But the facts are this: the phone records show there's no activity after 9:46, the day she went missing. The grandparents were talking to Samantha about meeting her ex-boyfriend. I don't know what ex-boyfriend, if he's the same age, if he's 14 or 21. We couldn't get that message because Samantha's mother said she couldn't talk about the boyfriend. She couldn't talk about any of the facts of the boyfriend. So we know nothing about the boyfriend other than the two met that night.
Okay. Nothing about the boyfriend. That's it's kind of strange, being that the boyfriend was the last to be seen with some the teen, the missing teen.
The
I wonder
only thing I do know, but while I was talking to Samantha's mother off camera, is that the police went to question the boy, and he was offended and didn't understand why he was being questioned in the first place.
He didn't understand. That's kind of strange. Makes him the top suspect in my view. I'm just they have a lot of information. I'm just feeling like, they still hiding a lot of information. We're gonna go to a commercial break, and after we come back, we're gonna talk about the bridge and how they know they was on the bridge and what they done and what happened after they was on the bridge. It's a lot of information out there. It's a lot of unanswered questions that they put out there to the public, but they still not answering. We'll be right back.
I am your host, Kimberly Trapani of the Focus TV One Network Purpose Show. I am wishing you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Detectives are beginning to pivot from a missing persons investigation to a criminal probe. According to Samantha's mother, her daughter came to Riverside Park late last Friday night to meet up with an old boyfriend. She says the two got involved in a physical altercation, and tonight, 1 week later, she tells me she has plenty of reason to be concerned.
Something bad may have happened to her. She does not have a phone with her. She's obsessed with her phone. Like, she wants to, like, that is her main thing, as with like a lot of teenagers now. Like, she cannot be away from her phone, and she would let somebody know. Like, I don't know where she would have gone with no money, no means of getting any money. There were no altercations here. She's been happy.
Indeed. You're in tune to the Focus TV1 network. Focus News 1. Let's go ahead. Let's talk more about.
I'd like to remind, not to interrupt you, I'd like to remind everyone the solution is to find the child. It's not about who's right now, because I care less about the adults and start focusing on what the goal is and the child being found. And also, Teflon, the missing child hotline is 800-843-5678.
Most definitely. And it don't seem like they're really interested in finding the child. I mean, it's been over a week now, especially the parent. I would be, like I say, looking under a rock, talking to anybody and everybody I can know. I don't know, talking to any kind of media source. I'm trying to find my child. My child is gone. I need to find my child, no matter what they talking about, because it's not their child. They just working. They going through the process. I need to find my child.
Yes.
So the bridge, I mean, all that information is out there. How did they get that?
They apparently from, and again, some of this might be speculation, but if we want reporting that's responsible, we have to get to the facts of the case and down to the factual communication. And that seems like it's breaking down and lacking here. So I'll try to the best of my ability as a journalist to actually give you the facts. And from what I'm finding, the two children, 14-year-old minors, met at a park, which was Riverside, in a area that isn't really, in my opinion, suitable for children to be walking in at 11:30 at night. And apparently the children got into some sort of a disagreement, and the version of the story was the phone of Samantha ended up in the river. We don't know if Samantha's phone went with her in the river. We don't know if the phone was thrown in the river, but what we do know is that the version of the minor child was that the boyfriend was bitten on the hand, and he says that he walked away from Samantha, and then Samantha was not seen since.
Okay, go back to the river. They looked in the river once. They combed it pretty heavily.
Yes.
Somehow I thought the phone was already pinged, earlier, but somehow they say, okay, the phone is pinged coming from the lake. It's like a movie. So they go back and look in the lake and other pond lake, and they find nothing. Did they ever bring out the dogs?
I haven't gotten credible information that there were any dogs that were searching the area. What I do know is that the police have been surveilling the area since it was since it was reported by Miss Samantha's mother. And also, what I do know is that there's cars and surveillance going around the area, as well as divers in the river.
Okay, I see. One of the viewers asked, "Is there a representative?" This is going to be it. Is there a representative from the family that they could hear from? But I'm kind of let you talk a little bit more
Yes,
about that. But the
I
the
will.
the officers, the law enforcement that are doing what they do best, putting stuff on hold. It's a child
Mhm.
out there missing. We need to go. Go ahead and tell them.
Yes, the officer that is responsible to take the conversations was not available for comment, but we can reach out to his direct line and express our conservative support, as I've been getting an outpouring of what should we do? We're praying for the family. What we don't know what to do, kind of comments. But you can reach out to Timothy Higgins, 518-382-5200. His extension is 5673. And that's really the best place to give comments and ask questions at this point. Also, there's a district attorney named Robert Carney who's also investigating the matter.
I mean, they're using the taxpayers' money. I see, but
Yes.
it's been over a week. It's a small town. It's not that much land to cover. Do you know? Are they looking outside of that town now, or are they still focused on that lake, that area, where like I say, if it's a runaway, throw the jacket in the lake, throw the phone in the lake. I don't need my phone. I don't need no jacket because where I'm going, my friends and my new family or whatever are going to take care of me. And another question is, where's the father? I heard about the father at the beginning, but I'm not hearing about him. I don't see him. I mean, it's my daughter. My daughter is missing.
Well, the thing is that Samantha was scheduled to go to Puerto Rico at Christmas, I believe, with the father. Uh, but that's all I know. And she was due to have her braces off this week as well.
Okay. So still nothing from the father. Maybe uh I mean, that's why, we really wish we could have got the mother on. How's the relationship with the father? We kind of know the relationship with the mother is kind of rocky. Is it good with the father? Is she with the father?
The thing is, I think they're not together. The grandparents had taken on a role of assisting with the situation. And when I was teaching in classrooms, what I was seeing is some parents cared, some did not, some were hands-on. Uh, they are a handful. Their children, there's some kids are excelling and some are not. What I understand from Samantha is she was an A student in a different school district before she went to Schenectady School
Really?
District. COVID played a part on some of the issues with what was going on.
Okay.
Um, she probably had to adjust to the transition from one school to another and do the best she could with adjusting
So
with
so
the
she
school.
she wasn't a troubled child. So she just had the basic uh issues at home, just the basic teenager issues, is that what you kind of saying?
Yeah, they all have 14 is a funny stage. And when you're becoming a freshman in a school, it's an adjustment period paired with the, pardon my French, ridiculous demands of regions in New York State and how they're pushing these kids along and expecting them to stay on par with a 43% success education rate.
Really?
And some of them, what they're doing in classrooms is asking to be excused in the bathroom and going in and utilizing, pardon my French, their tampons. They're drenching them with alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, during class time.
And this
I've
is in
seen
high
I've
school?
seen this happen, and then kids coming to me asking me what they should do about their parents' substance abuse problems. So
Is is this high
some of the
school?
kids are a
Is,
little bit
is this
having issues with their taking on parental roles.
is this high school or junior high?
Middle school to high school, yes. I've
Okay.
seen it in K through 12 in different school districts, not just Schenectady.
Okay.
But typical hormonal teenagers, paired with peer pressure in a school, paired with children that are like utilizing class, trying to be excused to go to the restroom. Uh, it's a concern. And then kids coming to me when I'm teaching them on facts and statistics of staying away from drugs, what they should do about their sixth grade parental adult responsibilities to chase their parents over substance abuse issues. Some of these things are concerning to me, paired with lockdowns in classrooms. It can be a lot for a 14-year-old, and a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. So with Samantha, one could only hope that she didn't follow her phone in the river. One could only hope that she went to a hospital where police really can't, they don't have jurisdiction over discussing hospital matters or anything. They don't have jurisdiction over going like psych wards or drug rehabilitation centers. They can't discuss that with
Yeah,
us
that,
as
that's true.
yeah.
So that's why it's some things that they're not telling. Maybe that's why they don't want any of the family to come on, even though they basically just gonna tell what's already out there. Let's take it back to the lake, to the river, unless that I'm not for sure how old he was, unless he was a professional and really, really, really thinking. He would have had to tie something onto her legs or whatever else to kind of get her to really, really float down and stay down there at the bottom of that lake, or she would have been and floated up, which they combed that pretty good twice. So she's not there. If she come back up there, somebody put her there. But like I say, I don't think just the first time that she wasn't there, because she would have floated back up. If she, especially by now or just days after, her body would have floated up, because it wasn't properly done. It wasn't professionally done. It was just a thing. They got into it. She bit him. That's the thing. They got into it for what she was doing out there at 11:30 at night. That goes back to the house, to the parents and everything else. Even though the mother say that she was asleep, you kind of kids do sneak out, but the ex-boyfriend, she bit him, and he went one way and he don't know where she went. That don't even sound right.
That's not another, that's like a not factual term of what's going on. There's like some boyfriend prancing around some 14-year-old like it's a Schenectady jungle animal. What is going on? This child is missing. and there's some boy who's offended that the
Yeah.
police department is talking to him when he was the last to see her in the first place.
Man.
Is he like some criminal troubled boy who hurt this child and she had to run and she felt like she couldn't go home? What's going on with this? This is insanity.
I know. I mean, that person right there is not behind bars or anything else. He's kind of free walking around, and I'm a parent. I wouldn't touch him, but I'll be outside of that house. I scare him. I scare the truth out of him because he knows something. He knows.
If I was a mother, I'd be at that person's house saying, "Tell me where my child is. What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to get myself in full trouble because I don't want to be locked up because I still got to find my child. But at the same time, I'm gonna scare the truth out of you because you're the last one to seem. I didn't went through this before, but not with my child. It was with a relative of mine. Something happened to him, and I had to get down to the bottom. And when I found out who was the last person to be with him, that person had to answer. He had to answer what happened, even though it came out another way, but still I had to hear that story. You finna have to talk. I went through the vines of all friends, family, or whoever I needed to go through. And that was from a distance and until I made it to town. When I made it to town, I was still going out. I found out who it was. Now I'm finna find out where he's at, and I'm going to him because it's a relative that's not here with us no more, and that's not no good. A close relative. So, with it being a child, it's even more intensified.
Yes, and Samantha might be scared. She might be hiding somewhere. She might be at a friend's house. We don't know because we are not getting the answers that we need to get by a police department that just wants to brush this issue under the rug and not tell the common folks that we can't talk about this issue on air.
Well, it's pretty much like the first episode. We're going to be looking into that town and find out, because it's another individual missing also that they kind of say they've been in contact with, but still not coming out of the woodworks with which it is a good friend of Samantha's. That's kind of weird too. So, but we're going to be want to look more into that town and see how many other kids have come up, other teens, other individuals have come up missing. Is this a trending thing? Is this something going on within the town? Because we got to have our kids. Our kids are our future, and without our kids, we have no future. We got to have each and every one of them.
It seems like, well, number one, this is not a time for the police department to be filing their nails and going to get their manicures. It's a time to find a missing child and directly communicate that, number one, there's a missing child. Number two, what they're doing to find the child. And number three, actually get support for the missing case in the first place. Can you imagine, as a parent, what you would feel if your child went missing and what you would be doing right now? This mother is definitely not sleeping. I can tell you that.
I mean, when I seen her on camera, she wasn't really too emotional. You got to watch everybody and everything. Got to watch the parent, and you got to watch the last person that when you're an outsider, the police or whoever, the last person that she was with. I would being shocked, but it's just you can hold back them tears or just that emotion or just that anger. She didn't look neither one at that point, but. And that was like 7 days later. But this goes on throughout the United States and of course outside of the United States. But it's an issue because, like I was saying, we have some strange individuals out here in the world. I got a message earlier today by Jay Wright. Appreciate him and his wife tuning in,
Yes.
and leaving a few comments there about his
Thank you.
daughter. I think she was going to school or something like that, and the individual tried to pick her up, but she got away, and everything was great, but it could have been another one, missing child. We gotta watch our children.
And there's something in New York State called the Good Samaritan Law, which is a law that says that us civilians, non police officers, and non government have a due diligence
Oh yeah,
to
it
make
takes
sure people are protected.
it takes a community, not only our children, just people. Period. Because I mean, and the body snatchers are out there. Yeah, it takes a community to to run this world. But these days, individuals are so self-centered. They're not paying attention to what they walking in front of, or just of course nothing around them. They looking straight ahead, and that needs to change too. That
Yes.
that that most definitely needs to change, because if Samantha's out there still alive, hopefully somebody's around, or somebody's standing right next to her, or somebody didn't pass by her. So you need the public. One thing, you need the public involved, but in the other note, the public need to start paying attention.
Right. And with human trafficking on the rise, I worked with Ivanka Trump on that, and the New York State legislators, and our Empowering Women of America. I was a state advocate in New York trying to deal with human trafficking and child sex crimes, my name and face. And with drugs being a major epidemic in America right now, with like 70,000 overdoses and like millions of people struggling, like 22 million in recovery. This is cause for concern. This is the kind of thing, if I were a parent with a young child, not a teacher, I would be absolutely flabbergasted and annoyed with the way the system is not communicating.
No, that this is true, and that's why, when you reached out to me and pointed out a case before this, and this case, I jumped right on it, because I am focusing on the youth at all times. I am a parent with a young child, so I feel what she should be feeling, and that's why I say I'll be looking up under the rocks. I'll be looking everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. I'll be talking to anybody and everybody. The law enforcement cannot tell me to stay inside my house at all.
Yes,
They're not going to
not
tell
at
me that,
all.
and they
And
telling her that.
and the thing is too, is there cameras around? Is there surveillance that caught the child on camera?
Let's bring that back. Okay, she's not in the lake. I'm pretty sure that around that bridge is or it's a stop. It's a camera somewhere. It's a stoplight. We live in the world of cameras. We always on camera 24 hours a day. So even the eye in the sky, if you have to go to satellite, I know she's not no really important. Well, she is important to us. To them, she might not be. She's not a millionaire and all that. So they're not using all the technology. But yeah, yes, it is some cameras around. It's some cameras around that caught her coming in there, and if she left out, they caught him leaving out. They
Yeah.
caught the boy leaving out. It's cameras there. Someone. It was 11. I'm not for sure. Like I say about that town, how if it shuts down at a certain time or what. But someone, if they left that area, someone seen them. You need the public's help. You put it on the news a little bit, but kind of who looks at I mean, we look at the news, but we really don't. We look at more things on the internet, state shows like this right here. So most of the time we have that phone or the tablet or whatnot in our hands, not sitting on the couch in front of the TV. So you need the media. You need individuals like ourselves to to assist in helping find this little girl if you really care.
Yes, and definitely the legislators were on board with me. They explained after I introduced the president's brother and have 12 letters to the White House from my works. They explained that we have to care as a community and we have to have confidence about finding 14-year-olds and making sure they're not walking in the dark at 11:30 at night. Their place is to be home with their parents. And
Yes.
in this different time with this generation, only the outside public can be doing so much, whereas the parents have really the say. And
Yeah.
if the parents are strung out on getting high or going out and leaving their children behind at home to fend for themselves, that's not really a responsible supervision for this youth. It isn't. And so when the teachers are interceding and seeing parents and calling parents to find out why their children are acting out of turn in schools, there's reasons for that. We don't know what's going on at home, much less it's disturbing that there could be a 14-year-old boy running around that could have potentially be responsible. And I'm not trying to accuse 14-year-olds, but could be responsible for knowing where this child is. I just don't get this situation. We're not talking. We're afraid to discuss things in the general community to find a child, a 14-year-old baby who can't possibly handle certain situations, including drugs, human trafficking, rape, pedophilia, any of those things that could be happening right now. And it's sickening, and it makes me feel like the Elizabeth Smart case could have been avoided. Elizabeth knows that certain things should have been done differently. And the point is, we have to get better in our community to identify if there's a problem. We can't be hush hush and scared, because that's not effective for safety. And lacking communication from a police department in New York, that's not effective either, because all of us people that are actually concerned and credible need to know how we can help as a community to get a 14-year-old back with milk and cookies to the rightful parent.
Most definitely, most definitely. There is an issue. We must do better. It's time to stand up, speak out, take a look around. Better yet, listen up.
Yes, absolutely.
Coming from that
and we
household.
all care. We just don't know how to help, because the system is breaking us down and not being effective.
Most definitely, the system has broken down from disciplining your kid at home. You can get the police called on you and all that. You can get in trouble. The parents can get filed, go to jail. Just all that mess. Man, it's pretty wild out here. Like I say, we got to do better. We got to do better. Finna go to commercial break. We stand a little bit longer just because of the topic, of the situation. But we got a few more things to talk about.
Sure.
We'll talk a little bit about Trump. Indeed. Y'all get ready for that.
Glad to do it.
We got some news about Trump, because he's finna come into the light. So y'all better get ready for it. Again, you tuned in to the Focus TV 1 network, Focus News 1. We'll be right back.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy J Rob with the hit single God's Got Me and Tame the Tongue. You are tuned in to Focus.media right here on Focus One TV network. I want to take this time to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Remember, in this season, it's not the stuff you gather in life, but it's the stuff you scatter in life that shows the life that you live. If you want to follow me, go to Instagram to The Real J Rob, or you can check out my store at j-robmusic.com and let me know what y'all think. May you all be blessed. Again, you are tuned in to Focus.media. Salute.
This is Dr. Lee. This is Dr. Lee, and you're in tune with the Focus TV One Network.
Detectives are beginning to pivot from a missing persons investigation to a criminal probe. According to Samantha's mother, her daughter came to Riverside Park late last Friday night to meet up with an old boyfriend. She says the two got involved in a physical altercation, and tonight, 1 week later, she tells me she has plenty of reason to be concerned.
Something bad may have happened to her. She does not have a phone with her. She's obsessed with her phone. Like, she wants to, like, that is her main thing, as with like a lot of teenagers now. Like, she cannot be away from her phone, and she would let somebody know. Like, I don't know where she would have gone with no money, no means of getting any money. There were no altercations here. She's been happy.
Indeed. You have to excuse me behind the controls. I'm doing this so low. You're in tune to the Focus TV One Network, Focus News One. Indeed, like I say, we're going a little bit longer just because of the subject matter. But we're gonna get into a little. We're gonna come back. We're gonna touch on that a little bit here in a minute. But we're gonna get back. We're gonna go on to another little subject matter. Hoping everybody can hear me good, because I'm kind of, like I say, I'm adjusting everything as we go. But we're finna talk about a little bit of Trump. So
Yes.
what you got? What kind of hot news do you have for us on the Trump? What is Trump doing these days?
So Donald Trump is, as you know, the FBI scoped the home, and that would feel a little intrusive to me too. And being a president, that there's no respect of authority there, but it is what it is. But Donald Trump's recent call to suspend the Constitution over baseless claims of the 2020 election is hot on the press.
Republicans say so. Is Trump? I know he's still a Republican. Is he? Or is he trying to form his own little party or whatever? Because he just he loved by many and hated by many. It's just it's a it's a toss up right there. Uh, is Do you know what he's doing? Is he forming his own party, or is he is he still running with the Republicans? Because I know they let him back on Twitter, so he's talking.
I haven't heard too much from him since he sent me 12 letters from the White House. However, Ivanka was helping us with human trafficking. So thank you, Ivanka, behind the scenes when we were getting that started. It was very important. This is not a political Democratic Republican. It's very important to care about the communities, to do the right thing all the time, and just be ethical. And so when I was working with them, it was on confronting the overdose crisis and child sex crime laws. But since then, it seems like it's the Republicans and Democrats parties battling each other. So if I were Trump, number one, I go off to Fiji and throw my computer in the river and the cell phones and just take a vacation, really think about things, what goals are for the country, common sense maybe, things that we haven't had for a number of time because it was always about being right, that kind of thing. So what he's doing right now, I know his daughter got married. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Indeed, indeed. So we know he's a candidate. It's not been confirmed of running for the next president of the United States. I mean, we also have individuals like Kanye West. That's I don't know if he's gonna make it now, just because of what just happened. They kind of, man, he
What's
has.
his new name? Yes. Yay.
Oh, yay, yay! But he has been kicked officially off of Twitter. He put the comment about Hitler and the comment about old Elon Musk, and everything else. They pretty much booted him for. I don't think they're gonna let him back on. He don't have that type of power, but he does have power. And I'm just gonna put it on note. Kanye is not crazy.
Thank you for saying that, because there's a lot of misconceptions about us people in the entertainment world that we're all on drugs and mentally ill, and that's more hearsay and opinion. It's just we got to get back to the facts. And I would urge Donald Trump and the family, and also the Bidens, to actually stay centered and focus on what facts are and common sense in America right now. That would be my take on it.
The Bidens. The Bidens. That's all I can say about the Bidens. And who is the vice president? That's what's bad about it, because I mean I can tell you who was vice president with Trump, but even though she's supposed to be of color, I know her name. I'm just kidding, but still, I really don't know her
Yeah.
name because she's not out there in the news. She's not. What is she doing? Is she just? Is that what was that just for status, or just to, for everything that was going on with the, quote unquote, Black Lives Matter? It was that just for that, or what? Because she's not making a difference.
We have to worry about the common folk. And it's not just about the price of gas, although it's going down. It's not really that exciting that it's at $3.79 or whatever, when it was like $1.99 in the past administration. So, and the fact is that there's no housing versus jobs in America right now. So we have to get back to common
Yeah,
sense.
most definitely. That's just a whole nother show. Housing, both of them are shows. Housing and jobs. The housing is very important, but the job situation too. That's two very hot topics that no one's really talking about. They're not talking about the missing children. The child predators. They're covering them up. I think the police are working with them too. I'm just that's just my opinion. Everybody has their opinion, but that's my opinion. I mean, I have some facts on that actually, but it's just a shame that is just so many hot topics that are kind of spoke about but not really covered and put out there. Let's protest about the stuff that really matter. Protesting about the stuff that really don't matter. Again, we're going to talk about, we're going to say it matters, but it don't matter. I'm not even going to say the name, but we protested about it. The world protested about it, but what did it change?
Exactly. And are we any farther along now
No,
with drugs and missing
no,
children than we
no.
were in the 80s?
Well, I think the system wasn't, the technology wasn't as good as it is now, but I think they were on it. They were doing more back in the 80s, back in the 70s, back in the 80s. I know it was some cases like the Atlanta child murders and other big cases that they say they solved, but it just come down to the end when the case was supposed to be solved, the killings were still going. It's just catch somebody, close the case, and let's clock out and get paid for it. Basically, that's how a lot of them think. But you have a lot of officials that actually care. It's a 50-50. Oh, no, I'm not even gonna say 50-50. It's probably a less that don't really care than the ones that really care. It's just a job to a lot of them.
It seems like that's the other thing too. You got to care. But a lot of these people are just collecting their checks in the government. And we're not seeing a lot of traction and action on the real issues, the reality of things, like the price of gas and the rising crime rates and the rising drugs. And we're more worried about who's going to be right. And I just heard that we can't say monkeypox anymore because that's got to be politically correct. That's what I mean about getting back to common sense. Who cares about being politically correct? We got a potential recession. We have children missing that we can't even get an officer on the phone to give comment on.
Yes.
Those kinds of things. You got to care about your kids who are seeing drugs, seeing crime, and not safe on the streets. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I think we're getting ready to have a viewer that was listening. They actually want to come on and they have a few things to say. So talk
Sure.
about a few things. Let me get her pulled onto the show right quick.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you can go ahead and finish talking about the case and just the issues that's happening. Like I said, it's happening throughout the United States and outside of the United States because I see it all. But
Yes, very
the
sad.
issue that's happening in New York, that's kind of what we've kind of focused on now. Hopefully, our soon to come on guest will shed some light on some more stuff. But let's just talk about that for a little bit. Give a little bit
Yeah,
more insight on what because like I say,
yeah,
the news media, the local news media, they're gonna report it just to a certain point, and they on to the next story, to the next story. That one's on the
exactly.
shelf. That one's on the shelf right now. So give us a little bit more information on that.
Who's on the show?
No, no, no. I'm saying the information is on the shelf. The news media are not really talking about this no more. I was saying just give the viewers a little bit more information about this while I bring on our guest.
Okay, well, Samantha Humphrey is 4 feet 11 inches tall. She's 14. She was a straight A student in Burt Hills and then moved over to Schenectady. She's a vulnerable child. I think back to when I was 14 and what I knew. Samantha, you don't have to be scared. We all are caring about your return. We want you safe and we want you to feel comfortable to go to the officials. Go to your nearest police department. If you hear this, go right now. Go to a hospital, a fire station, or a police department and tell them who you are. We want you safe and we want your return back to your parents who love you, your grandparents. So come home, Samantha. We want you safe. That is the goal. The tip line, call Schenectady Police at 518-630-0911 or call the officer of the law, Timothy Higgins, at 518-382-5200, extension 5673, with credible and factual, responsible reporting on what happened. We as a community need to get better and not have to worry about being right or wrong on what is ethical and protecting our babies and our youth. It's on the adults. I don't care if you're a parent. I don't care about you adults. It's not about you as an adult. It's about protecting our vulnerable children right now.
Indeed. It's most definitely about protecting the children. The question is really, how many individuals really care about our youth? I just see it so much. Having kids. Having a kid, having a child. I see it so much. I see it, and it's heartbreaking. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. It was totally different. We lived in that neighborhood where you knew your neighbor, your next door neighbor, your the individuals down the street, around the corner. Just you pretty much knew everyone. But nowadays you barely know who's next door to you in an apartment. You not really gonna know your neighbor in the house because it's just not that friendly anymore. And that needs to change. That most definitely needs to change, because as we can see, it's affecting our youth. Because they are coming up missing, and that number is high. I'm gonna look that up, and the number is pretty high. Most definitely. You're in tune to the Focus TV One Network. We're gonna take a quick break, and gonna have another guest on when we come back. We'll be right back.
I am your host.
Indeed, indeed. You're in tune to the Focus TV1 network, Focus News One. Want to welcome Liz in the building. Kimberly,
Welcome, Liz.
Liz, Kimberly. Most definitely, most definitely. One of the viewers. This is just the way we do it. You know, we see someone interested, want to bring you onto the show. Not just see the comments, see who's making the comments, and let's hear more about what they have to say.
Yes, and I appreciate that. I just think that this is just a great topic that sometimes gets, it's personal when kids go missing and families want to deal with it, privately, and we do respect that. But at the same time, as a community, we know that it takes a village to raise a child, to keep a child safe. So we need more people to come forward so we can help bring in whichever way we can help be a part of that rescue team.
Absolutely, Liz. And the thing is, Liz, we're all in this together. And sometimes parents can just feel overwhelmed because they've never been a parent before. And sometimes there's a need to get some community support when in this time there's depression and drugs and mental health issues.
Right. I've had a friend that her son had mental health issues and ran away from home or did something. There was something. They found him. So we lived in New York, in Far Rockaway, New York. So that's like
Nice.
New York City, Queens. And they ended up finding him, I think, like in Texas somewhere. That was the first time. He then left again in 2016. And I'm not even sure if they found him. And I have been asking, well, what are you doing? Are you putting flyers out? Let me help whichever way. But a lot of people, because the children have mental illness or whatever the case may be, or they feel hurt, like, they couldn't do more to protect them, they kind of shy away from the community helping them. And that's a disadvantage to the child that's missing.
Do you have kids, Liz?
I do.
Yeah. And are your kids grown or are they young?
Teenage, and some of them are grown. I don't have biologically, but I've helped raise like my nieces and nephews, stepchildren. So not young, but old enough where it could happen.
And you see what kinds of issues are you seeing today amongst teenagers?
Just wanting the popularity, wanting to be, seen, wanting that attention, which are things that cause people to want to reach out to you. So not saying that, a child ended up missing is what that child wanted, but if you're between those teenage years where you want to be outside and being, involved in things that you shouldn't be, that gives you more, you're more accessible to these things happening. 11:30 at night, a 14-year-old child should not be out the house unless they're with their parent. And then in some cases, not even the safest place at 11:30 at night should be home for anybody, especially in New York.
Yes, and in New York, in the 5 boroughs, would you consider walking the streets safe?
No, not at all. Not at all.
What kind of precautions would people take? Like, if you were walking in Harlem, what kind of precautions would you take when you're walking alone?
Be very visual. See what's around you. Know what your surroundings look like. See, walk in lights wherever there's lights out. Where there's lights on, walk where there's crowds, other people at, where there's other people, just to, be seen.
Yes, I believe, Liz, you're from New York. Is that correct?
Yes.
So she giving facts, So this is just nothing that she didn't heard. This is true facts.
Correct.
And can you tell us, Liz, would you let your teenager have us wander the streets with an ex-boyfriend who's been previously abusive?
Absolutely not. If they're going to be, If they're going to be together or stand together or speak together, then a parent or an adult has to be present.
Okay. My question is, what's the age you should allow your child to start dating? What's that age? Should it be 13, 12, 14? Should she even been dating?
No, I say the appropriate age would probably be 16.
Okay. And what type of dating style is it? Unsupervised, supervised? Is it just like the little kitty dating stuff, or is it, because these days the children they try to be real with it like adults, and they don't even know the half of what they're doing.
Exactly.
And they need to be in school learning, trying to get out of school.
Exactly, exactly. I would say at 16 they'll be able to do still supervised, but to give them a little leeway. Like with our child, she's actually 15 and she had a little boyfriend, and we double dated with them. We took them to the park. We were
Yeah.
there, so in case anything different went down, the adults were there. But to go on your own at 14, 15 years old, no, I wouldn't even say 16.
Okay.
I When I
Even
started dating at 16, I was still with friends, so I wasn't alone. There was
so,
always someone else present there, just in case something happened. You
is
know,
it just holding hands, or is it a little kissing, or how far?
um, well, with our child, it wasn't any of that. Maybe a little hugging,
Yeah, that's fine.
um,
Yeah.
right, but nothing else to the extreme. They weren't left alone. Um, because we know what's real in this time, right? It's totally
Yeah.
different from when we grew up. This
Yeah.
era with social media and all that stuff is much different.
Oh
So as
yeah.
long as you're visible, like I, you can have girls and guys as friends, right? There's no gender to it. Just know what the limits are. As a parent, know what you allow your child to do and won't do, and then it'll be okay. You won't have that, them needing to sneak out or being out in the street alone at 11:30 at night. Because now look, the child was out at 11:30 at night with an ex-boyfriend, and now she's missing.
Yeah, been missing for over a week now. The officials are trying to hush the parent. Don't want her to come out the house. Uh, they call me and tell me that they pinged the phone off in the lake, but don't come. Man, I'm out the door before I can even hang up the phone. Another question, coming from a parent, to another parent, what would you allow your child to
Right.
wear to school?
Yes.
Well, appropriate clothing. Nothing that's going to be, again, we talk about kids, especially teenagers, especially about girls. I'm not stereotyping, because you got some guys that wear some things that show their stuff too, but we have to be more cautious of what our female children wear, and it has to
Yeah,
be appropriate, because you don't only
yeah,
have other teenage kids that want to do something. You have now male
adults.
teenage male adult teachers that want to look.
Oh yeah,
So if your clothing is not as appropriate as, and the reality is our children of today are more developed than we were back then at their
yes,
age.
yes,
The reality is they look like grown people at such a young age. So you always want to protect them and make sure that they wear enough things to cover up. And in
there you
some
go.
cases, that's the biggest issue amongst teenage girls, because they want to wear what they want to wear, especially, you know, up north. I've traveled with children in New York,
Yes.
just commuting back and forth to work, and it's like, you're wearing that to what? To wear?
Yes,
And then you wonder why things happen to them,
yeah,
and it's like, parents, you got to be more on top of it. Yes, I understand there's freedom of speech, there's freedom of whatever, but again, the parents need more responsibility. So
yeah,
now we've moved from up north to the south, and you see a totally different uh mindset of how things are done. And
yes,
it's to avoid certain things from happening, which I think should be across the board, because
yeah,
then that someone else is being held accountable for the action. you
Most
know?
most
So,
definitely. Most definitely.
yeah.
I'm coming from the South also. I'm from the South, but I moved towards the West Coast. It's a whole different atmosphere. But as far as the,
Different
yeah,
culture.
most definitely cover up and pull them up, but what everyone's focused on is pulling them up, pull up the pants, pull up the pants. But what about covering yourself up? I
Exactly.
mean, what you have is supposed to be private, not for the world
What
to see.
everybody's
The
doing.
the
Exactly.
the parents are they're buying the clothes for the kids. That's another issue. Stop
Yes.
buying the clothes, stop supporting these brands, and they'll stop making this stuff because the brands is making the stuff and the parents is buying it, and the parents are wearing it, so they want their daughter to look like them, so they wearing it, but they too young for that, because we have
Exactly. And
too
that's
many.
right. I don't know if it's the social media, the technology era. When you buy outfit matching with your minor child. Now I can see I'm an adult and my mother and I want to go get a matching outfit. Okay, that's fine. I'm an adult, right? We're going to look out for each other or whatever. But when you allow your minor child to wear inappropriate clothing because that's what you're doing, if you're saying it's fine as the parent, then that child is going to take that mentality and say, well, if my mom said it was okay, then this is acceptable for me to wear. Because at the end of the day, we look up to our parent, right? For that guidance, for that acceptance. So if mom and dad is saying, okay, I don't see nothing wrong with that, you're giving that child the okay to go do this. And that's the same thing with the curfew and going out with this one and going out with that one. I feel that we need to have those morals across the board because our children are our future. And when we're gone, they're a product of us.
Most
Yes.
definitely, most definitely.
Very,
What
very
do
good
you yeah,
points.
what do you have to say about that, Kimberly?
Well, when I taught kids in classrooms with my master's degree, I would witness these half shirts and the homeroom monitors just looking at these girls going up, these minor children, and going up and giving these minor children with the half shirts in the belly a hug. It was disgraceful and disgusting. And you fast forward when I worked with Academy Award winners with Emmys, they didn't find it cool to wear half shirts for children. That is not the message that Ryan Gosling, who we worked with, and Paul Servino and his daughter Mira, um, and I are spreading that's cool. That's not cool. It's not the trend. And we do not endorse children that are 14 to wear half shirts in school at all. Thoughts, Liz?
Right, right, right. It opens up a whole nother school is where you get your education. I have my master's in social work. So I'm
Yes.
familiar with the field and and this, that, whatever. And when I look at half of the children that I worked with, because I did some work in foster care. And
Okay.
we've had 14-year-olds being ringleaders to a prostitution ring.
Yes.
And it was like you see the inappropriate and you see because their childhood was, you know, not the greatest or whatever. And this was their coping mechanisms, as I call it.
Mhm.
But appropriateness is still key because if there's no one telling you that's inappropriate, then you're gonna think that it's okay to do it. So even on all avenues, whether it's a parent, whether it's an adult, we have to, and that's why I say it takes a village to raise a child, whoever it was. Back when we were growing up, if our neighbors saw us doing something wrong, they're telling our parents. It takes a whole village to raise one child.
Mhm.
And it brought us
It
to where we
does.
are, where we have those morals, where we have that respect, where we know appropriateness from inappropriateness, where we are a representation of those adults that were in our lives when we go out there into the community. Unfortunately, not everyone has that or is able to absorb that from people.
Liz, you're a mental health worker, licensed, I presume, in New York State, and dealing with the youth and children. What solutions do you have for if you were talking to the New York State Assembly like I do, what would you tell them about the discrepancies right now with our youth? What suggestions and advice would you give them?
Just try to find more resources, try to find more things that they are into, because I feel like a lot of it too, like school curriculum, I guess, plays a part in it too. It's not as exciting for them. Like when I've worked with them, I wanted to show them, I'm real too. Let's talk about real life experiences. Something that's more relatable to them, where they feel like, yes, I can do this. Or, okay, you know what? If this is what you want me to wear, if this is their tie, like I'm strong on uniform, right? Because everybody looks the same, and that kind of downplays the fashion show that people go to school thinking they're going for. But if you like fashion, then let me give you some curriculum or some courses in fashion. Let's look at what your interests are, so that I'll be okay. You want me to wear this, but okay, I'm gonna be able to draw this if fashion is what I like. Give me something. So not like always dictate to me what I need, but let's meet in somewhere in the middle. You know?
Most definitely, most definitely gonna have to
Yes.
get Liz scheduled
On
for
the show,
on the show.
and maybe you can do the course for us.
Yeah, we'll get her sometime in January, because I think we kind of
Yeah,
booked up for this, for this month. Most definitely gonna
yes,
be reaching out to you to get you back
yes. Let's
back on the show.
book
But
for
we finna
for the
bring it to
perfect show.
we're gonna bring it to a close, because I got to get ready for another little show
Yes,
that I'm supposed to be on, getting interviewed on myself on old Lucas podcast. So most definitely,
yes.
any closing words from either one of y'all?
Go ahead, Liz.
I just want to say thank you for bringing me on. I thank you for doing what y'all doing. Bringing these topics to the light is what we need. We need to get more people on to realize it takes a village to raise a child, to keep a child safe. And let's just keep trying to put our minds together to bring different opportunities for them.
It does take a village to assist in New York State, because New York State is one of the most liberal states.
Yes.
Direct communication is key to close any problem in New York State. And yes, thank you, Liz, for a licensed social worker coming on this news. And I would love to have you on the Purpose Show. I'm booked till January 21st, but we could do the following Saturday if you want to come on and do fashion with children. That would be amazing.
We'll think of some topics, and I'm definitely for it. That's
Most definitely.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your valuable time.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Like I say, that's how we do it. For the viewers that's out there, or the ones that's gonna, rewind this and look at it, here later on, days later, whatever. We have all type of individuals tuning in. So you never know when you're on the show. You never know who's actually tuning in, and you always can reach out to us, and you might get brought onto the show. Just like Liz. Right. But again, you tuned into the Focus TV 1 network, Focus News 1. Until the next time, we will be running this weekly. Until next week, we out.